Hi, I'm Chuck Friedman. In this series, I get to talk to inspiring members of our community about their stories, upcoming projects, and more. Welcome to the Developer's Edge. Hey everybody, welcome back to Developer's Edge. Today's conversation is with the director of our product management team, David Theobald. I've been really excited to talk with David, and he's been awesome to work with. So David, welcome to Developer's Edge.
Hey, thanks Chuck. Thanks for having me on.
So let's start by talking about your role at Akamai and what brought you here.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the director of product management for compute and apps. Basically, that is everything to do with allowing customer developers to be able to program on top of Akamai's world-class and largest CDN footprint. I've been with Akamai almost 14 years now. It's been a long ride, and it's been a really exciting one for sure.
You manage a team of other product managers and folks that contribute to the evolution and advancement of the solution you represent. What are some of the things your team does specific to enabling developers?
So I think first and foremost, as a product owner or as a product manager, you really need to be able to walk the walk of the user. And for our edge computing portfolio, that user is our developer, our customer developer. And so our team's been kind of mandated, from the top, right? Of you need to understand the technology, you need to understand how to demo, you need to understand the return on investment that developer is going to get by using your system. So all the product managers that kind of work in my group, we tag team different aspects of the developer experience, and we're active users of the system. So that way you're actually incentivized on understanding where the friction is to help take it out. If you can't demo the product, you don't understand the technology, it's very hard to advocate for that user. In the case of developer, there's lots to know, and that's kind of also the fun part about being on this cutting edge team is we're constantly evolving and learning things. And so we kind of break ourselves into different themes, and developer tooling is one of the themes. Simplicity of the onboarding experience is a theme. Data at the edge is another theme. So these different kind of themes, folks are working on those on a day-to-day basis, but in the shoes of the developer who's going to be using that system.
So David, with customers all over the world and in different industries, how best do we listen to our customers and more specifically the developers that actually use our solutions?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have different venues actually for which we collect feedback from the customer base, and even actually prospects and other folks that are interested in Akamai or what we're doing. We actually solicit feedback from pretty much everyone. Kind of working with key accounts is one way. We have customer advisory boards that we sit in and have bi-directional kind of conversation about what we're doing and how we're going to proceed into compute in the future. We have different regional kind of correspondence and things that are targeted towards different locales in which we get feedback that way. And then one of the coolest things that I like actually is we have a customer-facing Slack workspace that we allow folks to come join and talk to the actual engineers and architects and product owners to interact with us on kind of what you're looking at from edge computing, how our solutions are working for you, improvements and different things like that. And so that's really given us almost near real-time feedback, right? Of course, developers don't lack providing feedback, so this has been a really great channel to really communicate and really evolve our solutions. Like one great example is the EdgeWorkers CLI or command line interface actually came out of a conversation with a developer at one of our customers. Wouldn't it be nice to do automation in this way? And then we kind of generated this the CLI experience. So it's great kind of having these different ways to communicate and collect feedback.
Where does innovation come from at Akamai?
Yeah, I would say it's not one particular area. In kind of my maybe unique journey here at Akamai, I've kind of experienced different seats at that table. So, initially being a consultant and then moving into architecture, which is part of our engineering group, and then now in products, it's kind of interesting seeing the conversation evolve in the different chairs at that table. But the one cool thing I really like about Akamai, and the reason it keeps me engaged and excited about being here, everyone can innovate. Everyone's ideas are considered, discussed, debated, articulated multiple times until we arrive at common ground that's actually going to yield value for our customers and our partners. So It's not, the anecdotal or the kind of the cliche, the product manager is the CEO of the product. I don't really view it that way. I look at it as more of what are you bringing uniquely to the table that the whole group of our product team can benefit from. And that's where a lot of the best ideas come from. We've had product managers that have actually built interesting demo sites that kind of illustrate some of our edge computing capabilities. And that's not traditionally something you would see from a product group. But our product team is really excited about jumping in and using these tools and being developers and understanding kind of what that developer experience needs to be sufficient in the market. So we have folks in QA, for instance, that have jumped and said, hey, this would be even better, if this application works slightly differently. From my experience using the system, there's innovation and improvement that comes from that angle as well. So I really believe it's everybody at the table that kind of unlocks these great ideas.
David, outside of work, what do you like to do for fun?
I love sports. I actually like to turn my computer off and go outside as much as possible. Any sport possible. My number one favorite thing to do though is play golf. I'm on the golf course 2 to 3 times a week in the summer if I can swing it.
Well, David, I really want to thank you for your time today, sharing your experience and vision and passion for edge computing and all you do at Akamai. Thanks so much for being with us on Developer's Edge.
Appreciate it. It was great being on here and looking forward to following on to some of the next episodes you guys have.
Thank you for joining us today on Developer's Edge. We hope you liked our conversation. To watch more, subscribe and check out our other series. Take care and we'll talk again soon.